Hi, this is David from TIBCO. Today I'm going to give you an introduction into the order management server. First, I'm going to show you the purpose of the tool and give you a small overview. Then I'm going to give you a quick navigation through the UI so you can find each piece of information. Then we're going to search for an order and view the plan associated to that order. Then we will view the different views that are associated with the plan. And finally, we're gonna take a look into the activity log of an order. The order fulfillment server drives the order fulfillment process through both backend functionality and frontend functionality. So the functionality of the backend is to provide services for the order capture process in form of pricing services, eligibility, and order validation. Once the order is submitted, it will generate a plan for the order. So based on the products you ordered, it will generate tasks that need to be fulfilled. And this generated plan will then be orchestrated by executing the tasks in the correct order with the correct dependencies. And if something goes wrong with your order, so for example, a task within the plan takes very long, or it even reports an error back, there is jeopardy and error management. Jeopardy management basically supports the timely fashion of errors. So for example, if a task takes very long, you can define SLAs for each task. And error management is basically to resolve errors. So if a plan reports an error back, you can resolve that particular error. Then there's also a central access point to your order management then through a web-based UI. So there you can do these typical tasks, like for example viewing the order progress. You can suspend an order and resume it. You can cancel an order completely. You can also change the order plan. So order plans are not only generated automatically when you submit them, but you also have the possibility to manually change the plan if it's required. Then you configure SLAs for plan fragments, as I just mentioned before, so that when a plan fragment takes very long, that it should alert you with an error or alert. And finally, you resolve those errors using the error management capabilities. So now I'm gonna give you a quick navigation through the web UI of the order management system. So we're gonna log in using the admin user and the admin password. And the first screen we see is the dashboard. So basically here you get a high-level overview about your running system. So you see the orders that are currently in execution, orders in the backlog, a summary of all orders, and amended orders. And here we're gonna see the jeopardy overview. So basically alerts that have been generated for your orders and orders that are in jeopardy at the moment. And here you get live alerts. So this is basically to get a rough overview about the current status of the overall system. Then the next tab is the orders menu. So basically here you can search for orders. This is the plan menu. So here you have plans that were generated to orders, but no worries. If you click on an order, you can also go directly to its plan, so you don't have to write down a number or anything like that. It's just in case you want to go directly to a plan. Here you have the rule configuration where you can configure SLAs for your plan fragments and other Jeopardy rules. This is the catalog integration. So basically it's a live integration into your catalog where you can view, for example, certain products. And finally, this is the activity log of an order. So I don't have an order in hand, but if you place an order ref here or plan ID, then you can see the logs associated to it. But as well as for the plan, you can directly, if you go to an order, can directly switch over to the activity logs and see only the log messages of the particular order. So before we starting with looking into the order, I'd like to give you some context about the product we're going to order so that you don't get confused afterwards. We're gonna order the Internet BB Plus offering we have. It basically has a selection of 3 routers, so Fritzbox, a regular router, and a free one. Regular, I mean wireless LAN router. And the product itself composes into multiple components. So first into the BB Line Plus and Email Plus, which then are composed of generic services, the email box, which has the email box itself it needs to activate and antivirus for it, and the Internet BB Line Plus decomposes into Internet DSL line technical component, which first activates the line and then the data for it. And as you may have noticed, in a different color, there is a dependency to our customer service. The different color comes from because it's a different way of defining dependencies. So we defined a product depends on dependency onto the customer service. This means that basically before these products can be fulfilled, first the customer service needs to be fulfilled. But I'll show you that once we're gonna look into the plan, and then you might get some grasp on it. So to give you a little bit more context on why I chose, for example, this product depends on customer service. The reason behind is that for the demo we created a very simple backend system, which is basically composed of 3 tables. So first we have the customer table, which holds customer information like customer ID, subscriber ID, street, city, and when it was created. Then it holds items, so basically all the products we're going to provide with an item ID. Therefore we use the plan fragment ID, which I will show you later. The name of the plan fragment, this is the foreign key to the customer. So therefore we need to make sure that we first create the customer and then the item. That's why we chose the product depends on dependency. And quantity of the order line and when it was created, which product ID, and fulfilled by which technical component. So basically this is the technical product that my order line decomposes to. And then finally attributes. So here we also have a foreign key to item. So which attributes are delivered as part of the plan fragment execution. So this is basically a printout of the name value pairs that are provided as fields. So there we will see both input fields from the order, but also configuration values and specific characteristics of each product. So now I'm in the order capture system, where I'm ordering the Internet BB Plus for Mary Anderson. And the Internet BB Plus has a input characteristic installation needed. So basically it should indicate whether you need the line to be installed first. And then you have the selection of your routers. So we're gonna choose the free one and add it to the cart. And we check out and place the order. So this order is then submitted to the order management system, and order management provides us with an order ID, and we can use that one to search for the order. In our case, we don't have that many orders, so we could easily find it ourselves, but typically you have much more, so therefore we're gonna search for it now. First you go to that sign, then you reset the condition and add order ID, the operators equals, and we add the condition. So as you see, it will make a condition out of it, and then you just save it, and it will apply it to the selection, and here you will get your order. So this is the order view. From here you can see the order ID we just got back, but also the order ref ID. This is typically given by the client that submits the order. So in our case it was OCS. The status of the order. All technical components are provisioned automatically, so it goes very quick. So the overall order is completed already. The execution plan of the order that was generated. The addresses, the subscriber, when it was changed. So basically when you do amendments to the order or other actions, you will see a change date changed here, and the execution status. And then you can switch over to the particular lines. So this was line number 1, as we've seen actually provide. And you can also see custom headers. So for example, the installation needed, as I just showed before, there we provided yes, so they need to do an installation. I also created a static attribute or characteristic. So this is the throughput capacity, the bandwidth, so 120/16, and also SLAs and other characteristics. There's nothing. And free router, it's basically the same, just that we didn't provide any specific characteristics here. You can also see that client application OCS also provides input characteristic by itself. And that's basically the order view. So as I said before, you don't need to go to the order now and use that execution plan ID to search for the plan or anything like that. Of course you could do that, because we have the same functionality here as well. Plan ID, stuff like that, to find it. but it's much more convenient to just use the links to the execution plan. So there are multiple views for a plan, so this is the one you typically get. The other one I just had before, so it typically goes back to the last view you chose. Here you will see all the plan items that were generated, but not really in a particular order, so this is just to giving you a rough overview and also to easily navigate through parameters of each plan item. So for example, you will see the plan item ID, the status of it, when it started and ended, if it was non-executing, description and action. The non-executing one is a specialty. You will also see it indicated by the grayed out icon. Non-executing basically means that it's an item within a plan, but it actually has no implementation behind it. For doing that, you typically provide a keyword as a plan item name, which by default is non-capital letters _ executing. So when you add that to a certain product, it will be a plan item, but it will not do any execution action. Here you see on a plan fragment level which headers are provided. So you see already that there are much more, a lot of config parameters that are automatically provided by OMS. So basically the plan item is enriched with context information, but also the input values I provided. So they will be handed down. Installation needed and the capacity. So if we go to a item that is not auto provision, you'll see it of course on the icon, but also that it's here. But other than that, the information are handed downwards to all the items that a order line decomposes to. You always see also the reference to which order line this particular item belongs to, and general information about the plan fragment, like the name and its configuration. So retry delays, retry counts, and if it was overridden or if it's just the default values. Okay, so now you have a list view of it, but you don't really know actually why and in which order the plan items were executed. So therefore you change to the dependency view, where you get a chart of the plan items and their dependencies. So as I mentioned before, our customer service, which actually fulfills in the customer table, is provided first. So it has no dependency to start, but a lot of items have dependencies on it to start. So for example, the resource RFS for internet data, for your mailbox, for antivirus. And for the access line, and they by themselves have dependencies on their technical components. And once these technical components are fulfilled, they will fulfill the offering, so the order line basically. Another view on it is the Gantt chart, which is Very nice to identify bad or good performers of your order. So if the order took very long and you want to know why it took so long, which process component created the delay. So this is typically the view you go to. So you will see all the plan fragments and also their dependencies, but you will also see how they performed. So here in this column you will see the start and this one the end time, and this is the maximum time and typical time. These two parameters come from a configuration of each plan fragment. So we have a plan fragment definition, and we define how long it typically takes and how long it should take maximum. And based on the actual performance, the outcoming risk bar indicates then whether it was a good performer or it was so above the typical but below the maximum, or if it was really bad, like this one, for example. So this one took 2 seconds, which is the maximum, so it's considered as bad already. Also some that are very quick. Took 2 seconds, but typically takes 18 or even not 18, typically 5 or even 10 seconds. This time it took only 2. So from here you can analyze which plan fragment influenced your order performance most, in a good fashion or in a bad fashion. So now we're gonna check the activity log. So I just went to the activity log button, like here. There you end up in the activity log overview. It's the same thing as for plans. You can also go directly there and just look by parameters like order ref, plan ID, or rule name, and then you will see the activities or the log entries of the activities of a order. So as we've noticed already, there are log messages on various levels. So as you can see here, there are messages on an order level, on a plan level, on the order line level, and plan item level. So it typically starts off with the order creation, which then switches over to submitted, from submitted to a feasibility check, and from feasibility check, if it's successful, to order plan generation. So OPD stands for order plan development. And the outcome is the plan, so it will also generate a log message for you. And then it will actually start to fulfill the plan. So it will create for each plan item of the plan the beginning state. So they all change the beginning from starting to pending because they have dependencies on other plan items. And then the plan starts to execute. Also the order. And then the plan item with no dependency starts. So this plan item is the customer creation I showed you before in the dependency graph, for example. and then it will just generate messages for when it starts, when it changes from pending to execution, and when it changes to complete. And this goes then for all plan items. So it resolves the dependencies between them, and once they complete, the dependent plan items will start. Once all of them are completed, the order line will complete, and once all order lines are completed, the plan will complete and the order will complete. So these are typically the messages that are produced, and it's of course not only for graphical view, but you can also make use of it, for example, for reporting, or if you want to give notifications to the customer or internal personnel. So as you can see here, I switched over to a graphical view on our EMS server, so that's the messaging that is behind OMS. And OMS itself, whenever it creates one of these messages, it also publishes the same message to topics, but you can configure that if you actually want it or not. So I activated it for plan items, and here you see it published already 607 messages, but we don't have a subscriber on it. I could do that, for example, if I do subscribe to topic, start, just that's what I thought, provide a new order, formary, let's give her another BB plus, free router, bam, replace the order, so now it's submitted, copy it, and as you see, it already started creating messages for it. So this is the customer provide. I said it will always call it at the beginning to make sure that the customer is within our dummy backend. I can also show you that quickly. So this was her subscriber ID. (841E8). So this is the 841E8. So this is the customer. So I ordered a bunch of items for her already. Internet BB Plus. As you see, I ordered it 3 times now. So you will have the same set of items fulfilled 3 times. So 12 at 1. That's not really ordered in this correct order. 12:20, 12:53, and at 1. And for the last one, I just showed you that it also publishes these messages out to the messaging server. So that's basically it for a regular order. And now I want to show you how you can handle errors in an order. So as I mentioned before, with our dummy backend, we also have the possibility to simulate errors in there. So as you see, we have the list of technical components which do our provisioning, and we can tell for each technical component if it should be successful, how long it should take, and the error code. So we'll provide T200, which for example is, I don't know, table lock in our application. And we're gonna update this. So you'll see that customer now will respond with an error. Oh. And now we're gonna place another order. Go back. Let's take Davis now, and we're going to provide him also the Internet BB Plus as a free router. Add it to our cart and do a checkout. So this time I'm not going to search for it. I go directly to the order. So the BB Plus again and the router. And now that it's still in execution, I can also show you the options you have while you're in execution. So you have the possibility to suspend the execution and resume it. You can cancel an order, so it will suspend the order first and then execute the cancel plan fragments for the items that have been executed already. Or you can completely withdraw an order, which will also cancel it and move it out of the system. So if we go to the execution plan now and to our list view, we're gonna see our items again. But you may have noticed already, our customer item has a small sign to it. So if we click on it, it's our customer plan. And here we have status error. And now we can resolve that error. So there are multiple ways of doing this. So you can either retry the plan fragment. So if it was just a technical error, you can retry it. Or you can resume the plan. So basically this will send a plan item execute request again. So it's basically the same as a retry. And then we have complete. This will complete the plan item and resume the dependent milestones. And we have MOPD, so this can be used to alter the plan to either use or invoke a different product or do a manual process, for example. Here we're gonna just do a retry. And our customer system is also back online. So we're gonna change it to success again. Now it just also takes 1 second instead of 10. Gonna update it. Now we're gonna retry. Gonna give a comment. Error backend resolved. And then we can submit the error resolution. And as you see, it resubmits it and it completed successfully. If we do a refresh here, you're gonna see that our order now has also completed. So that's it for the error handling capabilities. So this was it for the video. This was the main goal, showing you the functionality it has, how you can find your order, access the plan, how you can do actions to an order, and which use activity logs have, also for external systems. Thank you for watching.